Maybe it's the fact that we all cut our pixelated teeth on side-scrollers, but there's nothing more inherently gamey than a classic platformer. Given their rich heritage, it means that modern 2D platformers have the weight of the gaming world on their shoulders, so have to make sure that they're as fine-tuned as possible. Jumps should be pitch perfect, powers as easy to wield as if we had them ourselves, and save points should be positioned in ways that don't make us want to hurl things out of windows. Just a quick note here, we've largely avoided roguelikes and Metroidvania games as they'll get their own list, and we didn't want anything getting in the way of pure, exhilarating jumping and hoping for the best. Without further ado, here are the 10 best 2D platformers you can play right now. As platforming heroes go, the armless one has been around for a long time. Given that he's had plenty of training since his 1995 debut, maybe it shouldn't be such a surprise that Rayman Legends is one of the greatest platformers of the last 10 years. Punching, swinging, and most importantly jumping through ultra-pretty side-scrolling vistas is a genuine joy. And Ubisoft Montpellier knows it's so good at sideways running that it's even added musical levels to time your jumping expertly to the beat. Plus, Rayman doesn't even hog the limelight the whole time. You can play as Glowbox, Teensy Ray, or a host of incredible armed princesses with winged helmets and ridiculously big swords. Throw in the reward of dozens of the levels from Rayman Origins and it's like two glorious games in one. It might demand pitch-perfect button hammering, but at least it's hell of a pretty when you inevitably have to restart. And again. And again. Oh dear. It is physically impossible to make a platforming list without adding Super Meat Boy. Editor Colin tried, and now he's missing a finger on his left hand because of the spinning blade carnage that ensued. Oh well, he didn't need it anyway. A romance at its dark heart, this gory side-scroller follows the titular Meat Boy in his quest to rescue his girlfriend, Bandage Girl, from the nefarious Dr. Fetus. Unfortunately, there's hundreds of rooms of spinning death between him and his true love for you to navigate. It's important to note here that the difference between a good platformer and a great platformer is just how much it's actually your fault if you die. Super Meat Boy is the epitome of things being your fault. Every stage is beautifully, perfectly possible. You just need to execute it all in one flowing movement to avoid, well, executing poor Meat Boy. We love a bit of Ori here at Logitech G. It's made it onto our top lists before thanks to that resplendent 4K presentation. Just look at it. But it's more than just a pretty face. There's great variation on offer here with some testing challenges, action-packed puzzles and stellar platforming levels that would put Prince of Persia to shame. And it's a journey for your feels as well as for your hands, thanks to an especially heartbreaking prologue. Nope, we're still not over it. Ori and the Blind Forest may not provide the same rigid challenge as other classic platformers, stick around until the next entry if that's what you're after, but it's still a mesmerising, thoughtful and powerfully affecting game, which will do us just fine until the sequel arrives in 2019. That's right, we did just follow up one of the most beautiful games of all time with the most stripped down, bare bones platformer imaginable. And that's fine because N++ is everything good about platform games distilled to their simplest elements. There's nothing to do here except run, jump, flip switches and get out. There's no grand story to distract you, no plot twists getting in the way. Instead you get over 1,000 levels of perfect, varied, merciless adventure. Oh, and death. Lots of death. Because according to the developers of N++, you can expect to die every 1.5 minutes. And if that sounds like the sort of premise that you'll grow quickly bored of, you couldn't be more wrong. There are hundreds of hours of enjoyment to be had here with platform gaming in its absolute purest form. We've tried to stay gimmick-free with most of the games on this list, instead choosing to celebrate platform gaming in its most concentrated forms. But when the gimmick is as smart as the time-bending brilliance of Braid, we're happy to make an exception. And perhaps more than this, J. Blow's Artful Adventure still tests all the same abilities as a classic platform game would. It just makes you consider each moment more deeply. It's still about running and jumping, you still need perfect timing and precision jumps, but by throwing in a host of powers that change how those standard abilities flow, you gain a whole new understanding of what platform games actually are and why they feel so good. If you do want a deeper analysis of what it all means, you'll need to watch another video, because this one is all about how nice it feels to bottom bounce off a monster's bones. Try and sing that backwards. Trine 2 makes this list in the spirit of variety. There are plenty of games here that will test your reactions and your resolve, but Trine 2 provides a different sort of challenge. It's packed with satisfying physics-based puzzles which require you to swap between 3 characters as you shove, skewer and sorcerer your way through each level. Is sorcerer a word? Almost certainly not. But, best of all, the puzzles here are flexible, so there's usually more than one way of solving them. It tests you in all sorts of new ways, providing a fresh approach to a genre that's mostly all about running right and jumping. It's also a brilliant game to play with friends, imparting a feel of thigh-slapping high fantasy adventure as you gently solve your way through this gorgeous world. And as you've probably noticed by now, it really is a looker, a bewitching blend of twinkling crystal caves, leafy forests and stirring sunsets. At first glance, Shovel Knight might look like the gaming equivalent of a dull relative telling you how everything used to be better in the old days. But in this case, they're sort of right. It borrows elements from 30 years worth of classic platformers, games like Mario 3, DuckTales and Mega Man, and brings them bang up to date via crisp controls, great variety and sharp level design. It also retains the stern incremental difficulty of those games, with a few modern twists to make it feel more generous. You can spend money to upgrade gear and gamble by destroying your own checkpoints. And in Treasure Trove, we have the most complete version of Shovel Knight released on any platform. A smart homage to a bygone age that still manages to feel fresh and engaging. We dig it. Dig it? Like shovels? Oh, okay. Some games like to start you off easy, ease you into their mechanics gently with a systemic drip feeding of ideas and concepts. Other games don't have time to teach you, and after the first couple of jumps demand glorious thumb gymnastics that will make you feel like some sort of god or goddess when you manage to pull them off. From Towerfall developer Matt Makes Games, the master of the mid-air dash, Celeste is a pixelated exercise in precision platforming and problem solving. So you've only got one charged dash before you have to recharge it again, and wall hanging doesn't help. How will you reach safety and pick up that delicious looking strawberry? Finding out is worth all the pain. There are few games where it can be so evident how you'll finish a stage and yet so seemingly impossible for your aging thumbs to get you there in one piece. At least the respawn is faster than your digits. Right? It might also be a Metroidvania, as well as the second Knight on this list, but we're going to ditch the rules we imposed on ourselves so rigidly and say that Hollow Knight is also a brilliant platformer. Take that, rules. Far more than just some gorgeous Burton-esque visuals, this slice of gothic action is full of charming characters and reflex-defying wall jumps. The world of Hallow's Nest is hand-drawn and filled with significant threats, given the fact that you're one tiny masked creature armed with a nail instead of a sword. Once you've chosen your path, every screen is a fresh and thrilling challenge, especially as you add new lethal abilities to your arsenal and take on bigger and more dangerous foes. As satisfyingly scary as that bit of a Disney movie you still have nightmares about, Hollow Knight is a slice of dark delight where you'll lose hours. First off, no, we don't have a definitive way to say it either. Regardless of whether you say the letter V 6 times or VVV, VVV, this is a platformer so vicious, so unrelenting, and so deliciously testing that it should probably be illegal somewhere in the world. The idea is simple. While hunting down your crew that are spread across your crashed spaceship full of spikes, all you have to do is reverse gravity to cross perilous rooms and chasms. There's no jumping, so how hard can it be, right? Wrong. Suddenly the simple pixelated designs and chiptunes don't matter. All that matters is the perfect design of each screen to simultaneously make you feel like a champion of the universe, but also someone who probably failed physics. Enemies, gravity reversers, teleporters, you name it, and the letter V 6 times will turn it into a test of your controller and sanity. Quite frankly, this makes Stranger Things Upside Down look like a walk in the park. So that's the 10 best 2D platformers you can play on PC right now. Let us know if we missed your favourite reflex tester in the comments below, drop us a like if you enjoyed this video, and don't forget to subscribe to Logitech G for more videos just like this one.